Hi guys, Logan Phillips here. Alright, this video is about setting dates inside the Simnet so that everything's organized. This is a continuation of my best practices that I use. And so for this video, I'm going to be working on Simnet. I'm also going to be working with a pacing schedule that I have created for the assignments in my class. So the very first thing I want to show you is my pacing schedule. It's pretty straightforward. This is for the 16-week concept starting in the fall of 2017-10. You can see that all my dates and all my assignments are assigned a certain week, week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. All those assignments end on a certain date, which is the Sunday of the week. So my weeks start on Monday and end on Sunday. Again, you can change this however you like, but this is how I do it. And every one of my 16-week courses ends on the final Tuesday of finals week. So on the 16th week, the final Tuesday, which is for me 12/13/2016, is the last day students are allowed to put anything in. Now, I do my classes a little bit odd compared to some, as in I only have the one deadline. Every single assignment must be turned in by 12/13/2016, or the final Tuesday of class. They can turn in anything they want up until that point with no loss of points. The pacing schedule for me is a suggested deadline for my students to complete the tasks. This allows them to work on things in their own patterns. If they want to do Word first, or PowerPoint first, or Excel first, or they want to do the theory first, or if they want to hammer it all out in 1 week, or they want to hammer it all out in 6 weeks, I really open it up so that they can do everything they want. Now, in my pacing schedule, I always show them how many points were in the class, the type of item that it is, so they'll find it on like BB quiz is a Blackboard quiz. They have to go into Blackboard for that. The lectures, that is going to be either an online video they'll find on Blackboard or a face-to-face class. And of course, Simbooks, Simpass, independent projects, guided projects. These are all pieces that are found inside the Simnet environment. So they know exactly what the title of things are, as well as the point values and the dates. So I'm going to use these dates to set the actual deadlines on the Simnet environment so that my schedule appears on my calendar. So I'm going to open up Simnet here, and I'm going to go into Sim Student. Now, this allows me to see what the student sees, and the very first thing they should usually be checking is the calendar. Now, unfortunately, because I use a pacing schedule, the calendar will typically be empty, because otherwise everything would just be due, that final deadline of the final Tuesday of week. So what I do is I go through and set a pacing schedule actually on the Simnet environment as well. If you're doing a real schedule, the students have to be doing deadlines this certain week, these assignments this certain week. It's the same process I'm doing, but this is for my pacing schedule. So let's go back to the CRS manager, and I'm going to choose to manage my classes. Excuse me. And we're still working on that 18152. That's my 16-week computer concepts. And I'm going to choose to edit and assign. Now, everything inside Simnet is set to a deadline, or set to dates. So if we jump into exams, we have a variety of exams here. Each of these chapters exams, as well as the comprehensive exams, these are all set on my deadlines. So I can either set these independently, like I know that the comprehensive exam is going to be the final Tuesday. So my end date, 12/12, my start date, August 22nd, these are all set. Or I can choose to set them as a variety, and I can set everything together. So I'm going to highlight everything, if I can get the highlight to work here. There we go. And instead of doing it one by one, I can actually choose to edit all selected. And when I do edit selected, I can change the scheduling dates, or I can update the independent stuff. I can change the gradebook values. I can change any restrictions. So I know all of these are going to start on August 22nd. And I know that they're going to open up at, let's say, 12:59 a.m. Or you can click on the little clock and choose it that way. I want them to be able to start this class very, very quickly. In fact, let's just change that to 12:01 a.m. That way they can start at the very first minute of the first day of class if they want. Now the due date I'm not going to set as a whole bunch. I'm going to set my end dates only for all of these. And my end dates for everything in my class is December, let's see, 12th, 2016. And hit save. Now, all of these have their own individual due dates. In fact, we can open this up and see. The due date is different than the end date. The end date is the date that they can no longer accomplish the task. It shuts off, won't let them access it. The due date is the date that you want them to do the assignment by. So you can actually set a due date and say, well, if you're not meeting the due date, you're going to lose 1% per day for everything after that, or you're going to lose points for everything after that. However you want to set that, you can set it up right here. So maybe this exam, I want them to do it within the first week, and if they don't do it the first week, they're going to lose 10% or 5 points every week after that. It's however you want to do it. You can do those restrictions yourself. So next, we're going to go to lessons, and we're going to do the same thing again. All right, so let's do sim books here. So we have all these sim books with the Word, Excel, chapters, all that. I want to do them all at once. So I'm going to highlight by left clicking and dragging. I'm going to choose Edit Selected, and I'm going to update my scheduling. Now I know all the classes start on Monday at 12:01. And this is going to definitely be AM. And they're going to be due on December, what did I say, 12th at 11:59 p.m. So they have from minute to minute what I want them to do. And hit save. And you can do that through all of them. It's very easy to either set individually, or you can click and drag and select multiples at a time. This is really helpful when you're setting points. If you're not doing the point values that I have chosen, you're free to do whatever you want, but you can set the points for everything, you can set the points for certain things, or you can set the preferences. Now, each of these is going to come with their own sets of preferences. Exams have gradebook options, scheduling, and restrictions, like you can choose to allow them to have open book. The Simpass have the scheduling just like that before. You can display a hint. I usually choose to do a display hint after a certain number. Usually I want them to try it once before I give them a hint. And the required piece. Now there's show me, guide me, and let me try inside the sim books. The show me is a video. The guide me is a walkthrough of the steps. The let me try is on themselves. So I only force them to do the let me try for points. And you can see here the points are 10 points for let me tries of each of the sim book chapters. And of course, you can also open these up with passwords, or if you want to do that, if you want to lock it to certain times, or if a student comes up and wants to work ahead, then you can set a password, give them the password, they can work ahead. For the Simpass, they also have their own scheduling. The Simpass scheduling is one that I've had difficulty with because the pretest and post-test, the pretest has to end before the post-test. So normally all these appear on the very final day of the calendar for me. I'm working on fixing these and figuring out the best method for that. I'm open to suggestions if you have it. I choose to typically always, or after one attempt, to show them hints, and the pretest is certain points as well as the lessons and the post-test. The post-test is what actually goes in the gradebook. Now I do choose to show the pretest in the gradebook. That way I can see what they've done. The difference is when I do the calculation columns in the gradebook, I don't add in the pretest. So when they're looking at their grade, this won't be added in, only the post-test will be. And that will be another video when I show you how to set up your gradebooks. I do not allow an open book on the pretest. It's completely on them. I have no restrictions on the post-test, those type of items. And of course the projects have their own. They can do a certain number of attempts, and you can display visual feedback. Now, again, the scheduling is pretty straightforward. For the attempts, I typically always go with 3. If they need more, I gladly give it to them, but I give it to them by deleting the lowest level score. That way they get a new attempt, but it's always building upon it. I typically only show them visual feedback for anything after they've done it at least once, and I do not show them solution PDFs until the very end of class. But I don't want them to see those solution PDFs because I want them to do it and know. Now, the integrity violation is one we learned this summer. The students, there are websites where they can get these assignments already completed. I'll figure out what those are, and I'll send out an email or whatnot if you guys aren't interested in them. But I've had several students send out other people's completed assignments for the Simnet. If you click on the Allow Integrity Violations, the student will be able to submit that assignment, and it will grade it, and it will give you a warning that the student has done a copyright violation or an integrity violation. If you don't click it, the student will not even be allowed to submit the stolen or borrowed assignment. Now, previously, I've always allowed the integrity violation, and then me and the students have had a talk. This year going forward, I'm not even going to allow them to submit it. If they're taking other people's work, then they're not going to be able to turn it in. And of course, the grade books, I show it, and there's certain points that come here. And the last bit is resources. I have certain resources I show, like the beginning videos, the walkthrough videos that I make the students do. I make them worth one single point that the students do have to accomplish. I show them in the grade book, and they can do one attempt on it. As long as they open it and they show it, then we're happy, and I got my point. All right, guys, that is setting scheduling and dates on Simnet, and some of the little bitty pieces there that are important, like integrity violation and best practices for like show me, guide me, let me try. All right, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm here to help.